How are y'all doing today? Welcome on in chat. Big news before the stream even started. Gwendolyn P. Everyone, big round of applause for Gwendolyn P. Gwendolyn P. now has, chat, a VIP badge. Gwendolyn P! Congratulations on the VIP badge. Gwendolyn P., when you are ready, please send us a sound alert that we can have set up for you, that you can get the extra goodness, if you will, Gwendolyn P. The extra goodness of the sound clip. And you are also congratulations on first, Gwendolyn P. Hello, Smikes. Welcome on in. We also have Siribot as well. Keep us safe. Dukasoft. Hi, Dukasoft. How you doing, Dukasoft? Travel the world. Cliff, hit it! Thank you, Cliff. Travel the world, how are you doing today? Welcome in. First time chatter, Chembuka. Chem, why are you asking about ant poo and pee? Tell me, and I can tell you more about ant poo and pee. I know far too much about insect poops. It's a whole thing. Tactics, hello, Tactics. Thank you for the lurk as well, my friendo. Let me see. Fedorasaur, hi. How you doing, Fedorasaur?
Hello there. Hello there.
Welcome in, Fedorasaur. How you doing today? Let's see. We also have, of course, Fall Machine sneaking in here. RPG Fannel. RPG Fannel says, happy Revenge of the 5th. I celebrate the 6th because it's more of a revenge. I understand that. That makes sense, RPG Fannel. How are you doing today? Gwendolyn P. I know. Adamanta, thank you for the follow, Adamanta. How are you doing today? Welcome on in. Jojo Lynn Art, how are you? Good to see ya. Let me see. Let me going through the chat, welcoming the folks in, all the party people. Okay, I think we caught up. Did we catch up? All right, there we go. Hi, Metal Meows. How are you doing, Metal Meows? Where does the formic... Oh, Chembuka. I gotcha. So formic acid comes from the venom gland. So the venom gland and the gut are two different components. So we can pull up an image real quick of the ant's gut system of the ant. Okay, we'll pull up an image, and that should, not any, ant. Here we go. That's a nice figure right there. Oh no, it's off Pinterest. Well, can't use that one because I can't enlarge the image. Hold on one second, and we'll do venom gland as well. If not, we can always draw one out. That actually, if it's not pixelated, all right, let's go ahead and pull this up. So the Cam, I can understand one Cam. No, so Cam, no, that's, you're totally fine, totally fine. The interesting and weird thing on how these animals work is that it's not all. Hi, Milas! Chad, if you're not checking out NMD96, you're not doing live right. NMD96, breathtaking streamer extraordinaire on our partner push. Go follow NMD96. And amazing moderator extraordinaire. We love you, NMD. How you doing, NMD? So, Chem, what you have here is this is the abdomen of an ant. So if we did a cross section, if we cut a vertical cut through, this is what you would see on the inside. And what you'll find is there's a couple of openings here. And one in particular, you have the crop located here. So when an ant eats something, some of the food is stored in the crop and not undergone full digestion. That is what they use to spit back up and trophilax into other ants' mouths. There are ants who can't eat otherwise in the colony. Like, they need that trophilaxis to be able to eat. So if you follow that gut, you get to the midgut, you get to the hind gut, and eventually you get to the booty, which is about right here. Now, the venom gland is located up here. So there's a gland, inside the gland are made the venom components, and then there's the reservoir, so that's like the little tank where they hold all the venom, and then there's a secondary duct that goes to the stinger or another kind of emitter, and that is where the formic acid comes from. So, Cam, the formic acid and the poos aren't coming from the same orifice. They're coming from the same exit in terms of like the like where you're looking, but they're coming through two different tubules. Does that make sense? Let me know. And hi, Supernatural Rider. Super, how was your stream earlier today? Little one and I went on a walk, so I was unable to tune in. Did the computer behave at all, Supernatural Rider, today? But Cam, let me know if that makes sense. There's also a third, actually, an exit as well. So again, most ants are female. And for that, that's the oviduct. So here are the ovaries, and then there's the oviduct that comes in here. The oviduct will sometimes share an exit with the stinger, so with some venom components, but it won't share an exit with the booty, as it were. Nothing works. I'm just using my phone for an hour or so today. Gotcha. Spray from the butt. Yep, exactly. So Chem, there's just the tube inside that exit is different. So they poop and pee from one exit. Their venom comes from another, but it's all around the same area. Update situation, what's happening? Absolutely, Super. I'm so sorry you're going through that. I know it is absolutely maddening, Supernatural Rider. Super, we just had a new diamond today as well. A new person joined the Diamond Club today, Supernatural Rider. Chat, there is a prediction that is live right now. It is a special Microscopy Saturday. Princess Sparkletoot! Hello, Princess Sparkletoot. How you doing, Princess Sparkletoot? Welcome on in. Welcome on in, Princess Sparkletoot. How are you doing today? Different tube, but same exit. Exactly. And Chem, if we look at...
Together, we can move the galaxy.
Golganak, thank you for the resub and for 20 months on a 20-month streak. Golganak, thank you so much. How the heck are you doing today, Golganak? Welcome on in. It's great to see you. Thank you for that ongoing support, Golganak. You're doing well, SciToot. Listen, I would love to be SciToot, Princess Sparkletoot. In fact, that might just have triggered a thought that maybe we should do some kind of tooting character one day. A toot animation. I don't know, Princess Sparkletoot. Just an homage of you. Maybe, possibly, potentially, sometimes. I don't know. Sometimes. Supernatural. A couple of things. We're doing a Microscopy Saturday today. We did not do Microscopy Monday because my basement flooded. And we did not do the makeup for it on Tuesday because I was cleaning said flooded basement. And so we're going to do some today. Donna Summer, Bad Girls, Toot Toot, and BB, indeed. Humbler John, welcome on in too, Humbler John. Humbler John, how are you doing today? Great to see you. So Princess Sparkletoot, we went to, guys, go check out Humbler John in one moment. As soon as I can do that shout out. Another maker and crafter extraordinaire, an occasional gamer as well. There we go. So yeah, the Fedora store, the basement flooded. And we're having a quote sent to us either today or tomorrow on how much it's going to cost to fix it. So little one and I went on a walk today, and we collected a whole bunch of sample. No, I know, Princess Sparkletoot. Naderfiend! Thank you for the 100 bitties, Naderfiend. Naderfiend, you know you don't have to ask cheer biddies to ask questions, but I always appreciate you. I'm curious about the ant immune system. Are certain pathogens that only affect ants? The bacteria and other pathogens co-evolve with ants? So Naderfiend, it's a yes and no. There are both generalist and specialist pathogens on ants. There's generalists insofar as they infect ants in general. There's even more generalists that infect other insects, including ants. And then there's specialists that only infect a particular species of ant. So, for example, Naderfiend, the cordyceps fungus that we've talked about a lot, that's, in the video game Last of Us, those are specialized on a particular species of ant. So it would be carpenter ant, for example, that it would specialize on. That strain of cordyceps could not infect, let's say, a leafcutter ant. Instead, a leafcutter ant has its own strain of cordyceps. Same thing. Hi, Gigalinks. Welcome in. Same thing, Naderfiend, with existing parasites. There are ones that infect leafcutter ants and parasitize their brains, which is quite metal. But those parasites will not infect other ant species. So there's a lot of specialization on behalf of the pathogen on some instances, and then there's generalists in others. Same with bacteria. Even with viruses, Naderfiend, there are viruses that are specialized on, let's say, the pupae of fruit flies, that particular developmental stage. And it's there's ones that are species specific, and there's ones that are generalists that affect a whole variety of species. So there definitely is coevolution happening because there's an arms race. So Naderfiend, the immune response of the ant is trying to be better than the pathogen, but the pathogen can't get the immune system get too far ahead of it. Otherwise, it'll be beaten, and then the pathogen will die out. So it's always like this. And eventually, Naderfiend, what you have is a situation where they're both running, but they're running in place. And so it's just a constant evolutionary arms race. Does that make sense, Naderfiend? In the particulars of the ant immune system, is not especially well worked out. It's much more worked out in fruit flies. So in fruit flies, you have a couple of different cell types in both the larval and the adult stage. You have plasmatocytes, which are small kind of patrol cells that float around the insect blood or hemolymph. There's podocytes, which are maybe double the size of the plasmatocytes, and they have little feet. So podo means it's Latin for foot, and they crawl around the surface, and they'll actually phagocytose or eat pathogens like bacteria. And then there's the lamellocytes, which are large fried egg-shaped cells that envelop bigger pathogens that can't be eaten by the podocytes. And so a bunch of lamellocytes will surround the outside of a large threat and then kill it. They also are the ones used for the outside sealing off of a wound as well. This is in insects, yes. And hi, OpenSet. How you doing, OpenSet? Interested in anthropology, the immunity has been the greatest selective pressure in humans in the majority of our history. Always, immunity is a huge driving force, not just in humans, Naderfiend, but in most anything. Because there's always that arms race. Guys, go check out OpenSet. Music and microscopy. Check out the lovely OpenSet. Little, almost psychedelic, if you will. OpenSet, we have some pond water I collected today from actually, and I filled it with a couple of different things, which I'm, why not mix it all together, right? So we're going to see what all I caught. I do know there's a very interesting critter in here that once I jump over to the microscope, we will refine and put it into under the plate, because that'll be super cool to look at. What I did was we collected some pond water. We're in New Jersey, OpenSet. We usually do this on Mondays, but my basement flooded this past Monday, so we got the pond water today instead. We were supposed to do a makeup stream for it on Tuesday, but I was cleaning up the basement, and so we didn't get to it. But yeah, so we're gonna look at some pond water today and see if there's any critters in there. We'll also look at, if we get to it, some ancient amber with insects in it. So it's roughly 30 million years old. We'll look in there and see what insects we can discover and anything else we're interested today. So again, everyone, welcome in. Yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Remember, tomorrow we have Science Art Sunday in the afternoon, and in the evening we'll have our Discord movie night. Make sure, folks, there is a prediction happening if you're interested in finding if we're gonna find any tardigrades, which are little water bears. You can vote now and predict and see if we're gonna find any. In our little jar, I've added a couple of different components of my walk with the little one today. So the tardigrades are usually located in some kind of moss or lichen along a tree. And hi, Alex Vixen. How you doing, Alex? Alex, how you doing? Welcome in, Alex. So I grabbed some moss and lichen from the neighboring trees and just added them to the water. Man, how's Mike, Alex? Any better? I hope he's out of the hospital now. Pouring curls up, you got it, Alex. Let me know if you need anything. I'm gonna start. It's just we're doing our makeup microscopy stream today, Alex Vixen. So we'll see if we're able to find anything cutie patootie and cool. I also I had big plans today to rearrange this little table where I'm at, and I think it's gonna be for the better. I didn't get to it, obviously. I was with little one for most of the day. That's why also we were a little bit late. But what I'm thinking is I'm gonna move the other microscope over here, so both microscopes are gonna be side by side, and that way, if we see anything that we want to shift over and look at in a higher magnification, it'll be a very easy swap over. So I have to do a little bit of rearranging in the office, but I think that'll pay dividends long term. Taking bets if I'll actually do the switch. You don't think I'll do it, Smikes? I think why not, right? Speaking of, have you ever looked at makeup, like stuff like eyeshadow? I have not yet opened set, but that's something I will do. You've seen the... Thank you, Smikes. Still in the hospital, knee infection might be gout. He'll be in until Monday or Tuesday at the earliest. But getting better, Alex. Is there improvements, at least, that we're getting? Smikes, I think that I will do it. I think that we will actually fix this up. Because, Smikes, it's this little tabletop, and if I move stuff off it, there will open up room, and 2 microscopes should fit on this little tabletop right here. Not the desk. The other side. Much better. I'm glad to hear it, Alex. I'm very glad to hear it. Neutralize the ketones and getting his blood sugar in control. Excellent. Because, yeah, you were saying, Alex, that was all spiking from the infection. So I'm glad they've gotten it under control. It's still stressful, Alex. I know. Like, you know, he's in the hospital, so no matter what, it's going to be stressful. Gotcha. So, y'all, for those new here, Risto's hit... Actually, this sample is from Ristorok. Risto has donated this fish sample for us. And it is a 200 million year old fish fossil by the name of Reggie that we have named. Gwendolyn, thank you for reposting that question from Caledon K. And hello, Daybreak, as well. My goodness. Caledon says, how do ants keep their colonies clean? I'm aware of ants hauling their expired ants to the graveyard of sorts, but do they have any other behaviors that resemble rudimentary sanitation? So, Caledon, there are casts whose job it is to take out anything that's decaying matter, whether it be decaying food, decaying bodies of other individuals, poop even, and whatnot. Like, those things get taken out, and they are very aware of how to do that. So it's all olfactory or smell based. There's, depending on the species of ants, there either will be a dedicated caste to it, or there will be other individuals that help out with the behavior, but it isn't their solely exclusive job. Does that make sense, Caledon? Yes, Risto harvested the specimen. Guys, make sure to go check out the lovely Daybreak stations as well, aka Daybreak Studios. How you doing, Daybreak? So yeah, this is really cool because when the first time we looked at it, we all had some rudimentary ideas on what was going on here. It turns out, so we almost thought for a second this might be some kind of proto-hands, but wow, Daybreak, I gotta nerf your comments. There we go. They're actually not. So like hasn't been other fish samples around that area, both geographically and time-wise, that have found this. So what this most likely is a fin that came off.
Look at its little feetsies!
And not feetsies. Probably this fin came off and just separated out. And so it's that little cartilaginous piece. It would be very fun to think that it was a foot. However, because we haven't found other samples that look similar at that same time point, that's why it's probably less than likely that. It does look like it, but Risto, the reason it's a great exercise in the scientific process of how we can identify and guess as to what it might be, right? If we found other samples in the area that kept looking like this, then I would very quickly concede to you that, you know what, maybe it is in fact a foot. It's some kind of proto-foot, but because it's the only one, I looked in the literature and there was just no evidence of it being just found and like by trained scientists, right, who would know how the cartilaginous fish looks on that front as well. Zolik just got my microscope a couple of days ago. So much fun. Nice. What kind of microscope did you get? What kind of microscope? And Risto, if you look, you can see Gwendolyn has a new thing by her name. I'm very excited for Gwen. The vertebrae are also really, really cool. And I really like this section of the sample. This section of the sample is really cool because if you zoom in, you'll see like this one vertebra here, and then here is where it would fit. So that you remove it, like that popped out of this region and didn't preserve, but you can see how it's moving along, and you can see even the upper bounds of the vertebra here. Omax Trincular needs to upgrade the camera, pretty similar to one fate. Nice, 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 Exo. Yeah, the camera. I also need to upgrade our camera. That is the next big purchase on the list. I have a Nikon that I just want to connect to this camera, and maybe that would be a way to make it better. Because I just need an adapter for it. That existing Nikon. Yeah. It might be something else as well, right? We talked about Gwendolyn Peas. What camera? So this is, let's see. I have no idea what it's even called. And an MU303 AMC. Risto! Risto, thank you for 2 tier 1 gift subs. Risto's a Demon Speed and Fedorasaur who's here in chat. Just got hit with a gift sub as well. Thank you, Risto Rock. Far too kind, Risto. Far, far too kind, my friend. Thank you so much. Focus on hydrating. Listen, Daybreak, please hydrate. Please hydrate. Is the fish head well developed too? For this one, Cam, yeah, the fish head is pretty well intact. And thank you, Smikes, for hitting the scope command. It's quite nicely staying put. Hi! Hi, how are you? Hi, Hugh. How you doing, Hugh? Welcome in, Hugh. So you can see it right here. It's all pretty much intact. You have, like, the lower jaws here. You have the eye hole here. Or the ocular window here and the mouth here. So it's well kept together. Wrist! Oh my god, Risto. Risto, thank you for the 3-month gift sub to Cambuka. Cam, please thank Risto for 3 months of ad-free viewing, emotes made with love, and access to all the animations and sound alerts that we have on the stream. You can now do crazy things like giving me a high five. Or another friend in the channel.
My best friend.
And Anonymous, thank you for the tier 1 gift sub to XOXO Elise. Elise, please thank Risto Rock. Please thank Risto. Elise, that's also from Risto Rock. He likes to give things anonymously. Thank you for the tier 1 gift sub as well. Cam, you got a 3-month gift sub. You were given a 3-month gift sub from Risto Rock. And Elise, thank you for thanking Risto. Enjoy the ad-free viewing and the emotes made with love. Hi, Mary Cat. How you doing, Mary Cat? Welcome on in. So yeah, lots of... Y'all hear, by the way, the lawnmower outside? Is that distracting? I can close the window. Hogan! Thank you for the 100 bitties, Hogan. Thank you for the 100 bitties. Chats, you know the drill. During hike trains. Bristow! Risto, thank you for the tier 1 gifts to Mary Cats. Nathan Gamer, how you doing today, Nathan? Guys, we're in the midst of a hype train. Midst of a hype train now. You know what that means. We have some raffles to do.
Bullet the science guy. Balin the science guy.
SciAnts rules.
Balin the science guy.
SciAnts is a partner on Twitch. With lovely wife Lita.
Balin the science guy.
Two devs. This ancient fish, 200 million year old Eocene fish. And even we were gonna be zooming in on the fish or the tail component. He loved it. Awesome, Gigalinks. Glad to hear it. My dad would not enjoy it. I'm glad to hear that your dad enjoyed it. There we go. Looking at its beautiful tail. The night, yeah. Thank you, Risto. And there's actually a second fish here as well. The second fish here. Wow, my goodness. We got to nerf another Daybreak comment on their birthday, too. My goodness. This second fish, we can actually, because of the other one, we can figure out the different body parts. So here's the head. Here you can see the eye down here, and there's the lower jaw right here. So we can actually see that quite readily. And then the rest of it, like the vertebra and whatnot, are a little bit broken up. Are you serious, Debs, or are you joking? Because Gwen said I look like I'm a whiskey tango. yesterday, Deb. So I don't know anymore. But yeah, there is the secondary component of this. You can see the vertebra and how they're moving along. Yeah, that's true. When Risto first sent this and we looked at that, guys, thank you for that hype train. When Risto first sent the sample, we didn't know what that was, but we zoomed in on there. And it was yeah, it was nice. The beard needs some shaping. What does that mean, Daybreak? What does that mean, Daybreak? All right, chat. Let us do to make it a little bit more entertaining. I'll load up one of these wells with some sample. And we can see if there's anything swimming in there. And then we'll switch on over. Hopefully while I try to find our critter. There we go. Oh, no, Burly Guy. That is not a Coke. That is pond water. That is not to be having. You do not drink New Jersey pond water. Oh, thank you, Kem. It's silly. He's one of our more popular characters because his personality is that he's a little bit crazy time. Why? I don't know why that idea was like that, but...
There's five Kevins.
Someone just eat Kevin? Okay. No. So Burley, it's actually there's some moss in here. Because mosses tend to hold tardigrades. It's like one of the places they like to hang out in. And then there's like a little piece of wood in here too. And I'm trying to find, there's this, again, there's a little creature in here and it keeps zipping around. I'm trying to catch it as well. So we're going to try to ID it. It's just moving at quite a rapid speed, so it's taking me a second to really catch him. Mosquito, so that's not the thing. It's much too big to be a mosquito larva. I think it's a krill critter, but need to catch it. Which usually means not refinding it. It moves very quickly. These Burly Guy are water beetles. And now, for the life of me, I can't find this one. Give me one moment again, y'all. If we don't find that's okay, but it was just... very actively zipping around. I don't know. We'll find it later. Hi, Zen.
Hello there.
Zen, how are you doing? Welcome on in. Zen, we're doing a microscopy makeup. Given the giant flood that we had on Monday. So let's see what's in our samples. Too tired yesterday, it was a busy week. Are you feeling any better, Debs? Forever Lost in Honkai Star Wars Rails. What does that mean, Zen? Oh, Zen, are you? You're the new Star Wars game. Gotcha. Sorry, that's the location, Zen. I was like, wait a minute, Zen's house. That sounds crazy. But lovely, Zen. But also terrifying. There we go. There's some of our water beetles swimming on around in there. You can see them a little bit more rapidly. Well, I know now it's a game, Daybreak, but I don't have that game. I don't have a PS5, unfortunately. It's not Star Wars. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought you meant Star Rails in there. We did miss Debs. It's very true. Oh, it's similar to Genshin Impact. Gotcha, Zen. I was thinking it was the one Kin was playing. Fallen Order. There's some of our water bottles in there. Oh, definitely not getting it then, Daybreak. I am not good on mobile games. I am even worse on mobile games than I am on computer games. It is no kind of good for me on that. Oh, and we have here, chat. Alright, well, Burly Guy was right. We have a mosquito larva in here. To move some things out of the way so we can get to him and see him better. There are Golganak, but the thing I don't much enjoy is the mosquito larva. I don't know if I told you all that story, but yeah, there we go. That is a mosquito fly, and we're hunting for tardigrades as we always do. But who knows what all we're gonna find? Hi, Space Hobo, welcome in. I was looking for right before the raids came in. We found a mosquito, and there is the mosquito larva. Oh. And one way that you can identify it is based on its classic swimming style. It flings its body back and forth. And that's kind of the lovely telltale sign of it, we having a mosquito here. So this right here is a developing mosquito larva. As you can see how it just swam off there. Itchy bump on my arm. That's so Moment Kill, you're not wrong. But these are larvae. So we're looking at pond water samples, Sam, and this right here is a mosquito larva. That long strand right there. And you saw when it got hit, it flicked its body around back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And that's how it moves off and swims around. It filter feeds. It also tries to keep its butt in the air. So it actually breathes out of its butt, which is quite an interesting piece of biology. So its head can face down and it can eat. And so it does this flipping behavior to move around. So I grabbed these samples from our nearby lake, which is, it's the slightest bit unfortunate because it does mean that we're getting mosquitoes already. The glowing skull thingy, that is an out of focus water beetle. So see, if we pull it into focus, you can see it's a little beetle series up there. And then we're going to the different focal planes. So there's different things are in focus. And so the little dots on there, instead of, they're not eyes like on a skull, but they're pigment on the outside layer of the beetle shell. Ostracods, there we go. Thank you, Cliff. I was waiting for Cliff to come in and tell me. I had said it earlier, Cliff, and I was like, huh. Cliff knew. Not beetles. Thank you, Cliff. That was my... I remember it was the ostracod, but now, I've always questioned now if I know an ostracod or not. Same lake, same spot? Yes, same spot. Yeah, Cliff, there was a YouTube commenter that got mad and said it was a water flea. They were very angry, Cliff. I told him to come talk to you. I actually didn't tell him to come to you, Cliff, because that would be rude. If they gave the larva to host... The larva to the... If they gave the larva to the host it took blood from... What do you mean, Moment Killer? There are a lot of those ostracods throughout, Sam. Yeah, they're all mostly floating on top of the surface of the water. Oh, if it was parasitic. Gotcha. Adult mosquitoes, those don't chem. When they undergo metamorphosis or pupation, the breathing apparatus get totally rearranged. They breathe through their exoskeleton. So most insects don't breathe through their mouths. They breathe through their cuticle or their skin. It's an exoskeleton, and it has little porous holes throughout. And that's how they breathe. And they have these little, instead of lungs, they have these little tubes that go in from the outside to the in. And that's what allows them to breathe. That's also a limiting factor for how big they can get. If they had a different breathing style, they could get bigger. But because it's all this osmosis and diffusion dependency, they're unable to actually get any bigger because of how their respiratory system works. And it's kind of cool. You can see here's the head, and then the tail is bifurcated or split here and here, and that split point is the tail, and it's also where they have their breathing tubes. Orange thing that looks like eyes up here. They're saying those are three ostracods put together. Three ostracods put together. Well, the air pressure Burnley guys, again, that's the same principle governed by osmosis as well. So they need to have, it goes from low concentration or high concentration to low concentration. That's also pressure dependent as well, and also percentage of oxygen. Yeah. Were the ancient mosquitoes genetically any different genetically? The large one from dinosaur times? We don't know. Moment Killer, there has been no DNA that has been extracted from anything that ancient. So there's no way to genetically compare those two. Hi, NMD. I found that rabbit hole of cat food. Did you bathe? NMD, when falling into cat food, first of all, wet or dry. Second of all, either way, you'd probably want to bathe, because even the dry food has like an after feel to it, you know? Be careful, NMD. You don't want to... You don't want to be very naughty. This cat needs wet only. I don't know if that's how it works. There's also a YouTube... Hold on. Gotcha. Thank you, Cliff. Thank you, Cliff. Rabbit hole filled with cat food. Raw food for the win. No, you don't do that, Spinks. Smell out the drywall for a while. Oh, that's fair. A little bit, too. Sour soon. Very nice. What about they glowing things on the opposite of larva? This here, Sam? That is light. See if I move the light around? That's just the light reflecting. Because we're having to light up the sample so that you can see in it. There's our mosquito larva again. And what we'll do is, you can actually see its gut moving right now, which I think is really cool. Adjust the mag a little bit more. There we go. So you can see actually it's I'll actually take a video. If anyone's interested, we always put these onto our Discord under the microscopy section, so you can actually see its heart. Oh, its heart was pumping, and now it's doing its swimming and it's doing its swimming behavior. Kind of crazy. The larvae, they filter feed, so they have these little bristles on their face and like little microorganism gets stuck in it and they pull it into their mouths, which I think is really cool. And it looks like a big mustache. And again, there are some variances depending on the species of mosquito, but that's the general thing that they use. Now, other things we're also looking for today are tardigrades. And we're going to see what we can find, or see what we're going to find in here. So, the difficulty is that there is also some grime that came with it, and tardigrades are they're clear animals in terms of their color. And so there's anything along on the background, they can be difficult to make out. But we'll do the best that we can. We do see some nematodes in here. And then here is actually, I'll show you in a minute, it's blown out of proportion right now. The light, here we go, adjusted. As I whack the microscope. Let me just refine it, y'all. Okay. There it is. Thank you, Kit's Awesome Wife. I appreciate you. Thank you again for the raid as well. So there we go. That's an early stage mosquito larva right there. So that's like same species most likely as what we saw a little bit earlier, but it's much smaller. So you can see it doesn't have the stereotypic movement of the flicking around its body. Doesn't yet look at, no. Burly Guy, any baby snails? It doesn't look like yet. However, we do usually find snails. On the YouTube, our friend Smikes and Debs and Andrew, those are our three leaders on the YouTubes. And they made Smikes made a really nice cut of like it was of a snail eating with pulling in a little bit more on the SpongeBob side of things. We always call him Gary. Mosquito eggs, Sam, they are built on rafts. So they are oval shaped, so not a full circle, but rather like a long circle, like an oval. And they usually don't come as one. They usually are laid together. So there's usually a bunch of them. Boop, 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 boop. When the mosquito lays, she lays them all together as a raft on a body of water. So that's why if you have in your yard standing water, that's why you're more likely to have mosquitoes, because they always lay on standing water. This is a larva right here, and there are two, so here's another one. There's one down here. We'll change around our lighting a little bit. But there's one, you can see it wiggling around. And then here's our other one, and they're both eating. And change around our lighting, because I think that's what... Oh yeah, these are out. These are out, Moment Killer, yep. I think it's my overhead light. No. There we go. Lighting is marginally better. So there we go. It's an early stage larva, and then you have another one up here. Trying to see if we can find a tardigrade. Again, they're about the same color as this, so you see it's like that white opaque appearance, and so that's what we're going to be gunning for and seeing if we can identify in here. If humans just hopped up out of ponds on the daily, Yeah, I mean, so Moenkoa, the big thing with these, just their developmental time is just so much faster, and of course, part of it helps because they're smaller, but they have that's why they have that high turnaround time. This is a larva of a mosquito, early stage mosquito larva smikes. There's another one up top as well. 30 years that they lay log-like eggs. No bad at all, smikes. No bad. Cam, my wife, when she and her sister were kids, they found in a bucket of water on the lake that they were living in. They found what they thought were tadpoles inside of a water bucket, and their dad was like, "Get that out of here! We're not keeping this." And her mom was like, "You're a monster!" And so they ended up keeping this bucket of water what they thought was full of tadpoles. Turns out, none of it were tadpoles. Instead, they were all mosquito larvae, and they did hatch overnight. And when they hatched, all in their house, there were mosquitoes fluttering around, and they all moment killer were eaten overnight, like on their body, the face, everything. And her dad was like, I told y'all. But of course, her mom was. Lita tries to remind her mom, like, remember when you did that? She's like, I don't know anything about that. I know nothing about that. So, I will be taking these samples outside and not leaving them in the house, of course, because that would presumably not be the best decision to make. All right, let's see what else we can find in here. This one, if we can get it in better focus, is a better example. Nature did that. Oh my god. She would be the one to say that. This is a better example of another mosquito larva, and the reason I say better is because we move it, if we zoom in, we can see some body segmentation, and those segmented body is just much easier to identify as a mosquito. There we go. So there's the head. You can even make out those two red dots near the top are not real eyes, but they're proto-eye cells. They detect light. And then here is the rest of the length of the organism. And there's actually these individual segments. Those segments become far more pronounced on our older creature. See here? You can make out those repeating segments quite reliably. Versus on this one, it's a much younger sample, but you're starting to make out a little bit of it, at least the in-between portions. These little black dots that are throughout, some kind of debris most likely, could be something else in terms of like bacteria, but because I just like scooped up a container of water, you really don't know what's all that is in here. Which is quite unsettling. At least I haven't seen anyone swim in it. This pond, but I don't know. I would suggest not swimming in it. And then let's see. I'm just gonna keep searching around. I'm gonna check the well to see if we find any tardigrades.
Hello there.
Hi, Whisper.
In dreams, one is not tethered by earthly limitations.
What does that mean?
Come.
Do they demonstrate Fibonacci sequence? I am not sure, Burnley guy. I haven't taken a close look at the literature of saying how those would those reliably repeat, and I'm not sure if there's enough literature on that being done. You're not late, Crux. You're right on time, Crux. Last day of break of the day in healthcare. You've been working all day. Gotcha. Crux, I am so sorry. Crux, how much longer do you have to work? Hopefully not too much longer. Okay, I'm going to quickly turn on the fan in here, because It's warm today. Whew, there we go. And again, the other day I was like, it's freezing, and now I'm like, it's too warm. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing, y'all. But yeah, I'm just trying to find and see if we can ID any flavor of tardigrade. And the issue is some of these look like they could be until you watch them for a couple of seconds and don't see movement. There's some Cliff's Ostracods zipping around. My name, Burly Guy. I am not your brother, as I don't believe so. I do, unless your name is Adam. Then you would be my brother. But there's my name and there's my background as well. 2 more hours out of a 13-hour shift. Get some rest afterwards, Crux, please. Crux, do you have anything fun planned for the weekend? Do we have movie night tomorrow? If anyone was interested, tomorrow night on the Discord we'll be watching the cinematic masterpiece, The Mummy. The 1999 movie. Here's actually another mosquito larva. Not as exciting as our tardigrade, but what you can see here is its tail is actually hooked to the substrate, so they physically hold on to floating objects, and then that's its mouth part, and it's just feeding. Tons of stuff for my plans for my day off. So I'm planning on being available for movie night. I'm kind of tired. No worry, Crux. There's no pressure to be there, of course. It's just a fun sillies, and I think one time I may have fallen asleep a little bit as well during one of the movie nights. I was so tired. I think I only conked out for like 10 or 15 minutes, but it was not Gattaca. We have watched Gattaca before, and yeah. They do moment killers, like fish will eat them. There's other there's some evidence of cannibalism as well, so like older mosquito larvae will eat them. Other insects will eat them as well. Even turtles can nip them up. And they're also susceptible to infection as well. I don't want to go back after my last 15-minute break. I just want to go, oh, you're not bad at all, Crux. I totally understand. Especially being on your feet all day, that long of a shift. I totally get you, Crux. I totally get you. I today, Crux, was so tired. I was with baby Alona, and we were watching Premier League games, and I yawned. And I found we couldn't watch it downstairs, like where the TV is, because it's just like absolutely destroyed, with the flood. So we watched it on the iPad in her room, and I was like near conking out. I'm like, all right, little one, we need to go on a walk now, because I can't be conking out with you. It's true there's more information in the way of DNA than there is in the operational functionality of the space shuttle. Ooh. So Burly Guy, I don't know of that analogy. I will say there is an extreme amount of information in DNA that the organizational ability of DNA and how it's organized and the information that is contained in is a model for software engineers because it's so efficient at packing in information. So I don't know if in a single cell there's more information in terms of DNA. It also depends on what organism. So different organisms have different amounts of DNA in a single cell, and I don't know if that statement is a universal statement or if it's focusing on humans in particular. Alright. Let's see. Let's see what else we can find in here. Did find a young ostracod, but... And we're just not having any luck with our tardigrades today. Alright, we're going to move into the next well. No worries at all, Burnley. I'm sorry I couldn't give a more satisfactory answer. I just don't want to mislead you, if that makes sense. Alright. We're going to swap this around too. So there's a bunch of stuff on here. Again, in terms of debris. What's really neat is all this. I have all the Saris Crux, right? Right, Crux? There's a really cool Ostracod here. No Saris, Burnley. I'm gonna have to nerf that comment. I'm sorry, there are no Saris here. The whole point of this stream is for you to ask questions, and if I can't give you the information, then we'll look it up. And if it's I'm like really not on point with the knowledge, we'll put it off for later. Research it. The whole point of this is to know and be curious about science and ask questions. And if anyone out there is not comfortable asking questions, our mods, you can DM our mods and they will ask the question on your behalf. So even if you're not comfortable asking a particular question, we try to make it as welcoming as we can, where anyone can ask a question, even with different ways of doing it. Absolutely, Burley guy, yeah. And again, I speak on what I'm an expert in, so my PhD is in molecular and systems biology with a focus on insect neuroscience. Hi, Mon! Mon, I went to the PO and nothing yet. Nothing yet, Mon. But we're presumably getting close. Given the timing. Guys, we're now checking out Everyday Gamer M, a.k.a. Mon. Go check her out. She's an absolute legend. Game dev and artist extraordinaire. Go check out Mon. It is, so it's a cursive D moment killer, but it also is like internal organs of this little ostracod down here. Or an M, actually it's an M for Mon, or for you moment killer, in fact. Either one is fine. Mon, we're doing some, back to work. Good luck, Crux. Good luck, Crux. Mon, we're trying to, we're looking at pond water samples and trying to ID what the heck is going on in there. The ideal goal would be, Mon, is to find some tardigrades, but as Gwendolyn P suggests, maybe we won't be able to find it. She said she heard some Gucci's, and she found mine and said, this sounds like you. That's awesome, Debs. Enjoying the story. Burling guy, enjoying you being here, my friend. It's your Friday take. Burling guy, we also have a Discord. No pressure at all to join, but the science does continue on there. If you like the images that we see, everything that we image, there's actually a channel on our Discord called Microscopy Images, and I upload all the images or videos onto the Discord for y'all to download, and there's no paywall, there's nothing there. It's like, in terms of gatekeeping, it's for y'all. All I ask is you don't sell it, because that would defeat the whole point of this.
Don't you like me a little bit?
Big Amy!
I don't even like you a little bit.
Huh, I heard you like me a little bit.
Well, maybe just a little bit.
Hi, Big Gamey. Master Lee! How are you doing, Big Gamey? Welcome on in, good sir. You're so handsome. You're so kind. Bit, how are you doing today? Thank you. I also believe that Baby Alona is quite precious. Handsome scientist.
Hey, Balloon. It's time to say something nice about yourself.
I don't see anyone out here, Big Gaming. Sign up already. I don't stream anything. Just says no, Burnley. No worries at all. You don't have to be a streamer to be here. We have a lot of streaming friends, but just glad to have you be part of our community. If you are joining the Discord, make sure to click on the ferret emoji in the rules section. That gives you access to the whole server. If you don't click on that button, that little emoji, it doesn't unlock the whole server. This way it keeps we call the smellies out. who like to come in and cause trouble. Awesome. Thank you, Burnley guy. Guys, go check out BitGamey as well. Legendary game developer extraordinary. The single greatest father ever. BitGamey, you are a wizard, my friend. BitGamey tells me about his day, and I'm always like, your family knows and appreciates you, right? Like, they thank you every day. I'm like, if they don't, I will talk to them. So whenever BitGamey's streaming out and Minigamey comes around, I'm like, please give your father a hug. So yeah, we're trying to find some tardigrades. No real luck yet today, BitGamey. However, this is kind of cool. We have a little embryo here. So it almost looks like a bubble, and it's neat because that's like the outside layer, most likely of another ostracod here. Went on a little shopping trip. I bought a book on how to make dolls. Ooh. What kind of doll, Mon? What kind of doll? Science-related pictures. Burnley, we do have a channel on the Discord. There is a science chat channel, and there's also a what's the best way? Nature, wildlife photography, a bunch of different channels that you can post stuff in. Yeah, absolutely. Crochet one. Nice, Mon. Very nice. And yes, hopefully not a voodoo doll. Hopefully not a voodoo doll. Although, you know, you got the one who's so far away. But yeah, right here you can actually compare the two ostracods. There's the early in development. And here's the more mature one. Close the door on your finger, Debs. No, Debs, do you still have the fingernail? That is definitely not Gucci. Oh, Breach Kick, thank you for being here. Breach, once we're going through our pond water samples, I'm not sure if you'd be into this. The other things we really do during our microscope streams is that we look for insects. So we have ancient 30 million year old amber. We also have 90 million year old amber, but most of our samples are 30 million years old, and we try to identify what is inside the amber. And again, these were alive, some during the time of the dinosaurs, some after the dinosaurs, still millions of years before us. And it's there, you can't get any genetics out of it. All the DNA and RNA have degraded. But we also take a look and try to identify what the organisms are. Sometimes we can even sex them if they're male or female, which is cool. I gotta bring your dogs. Noise. Is there a what's in the amber drinking game? Yes. Moment Killer, if it's a wasp or a midge, you take a swig. Because it's a lot of the times it's a wasp or a midge. But then we get to like really cool things like the hell ant. We've also found cockroach. We've also found like an ant with cordyceps fungus coming out of its head. All the things. Take a picture of my iron pyrite. Oh, very cool, Burnley guy. Yes, please. We're not geologists, but I love geological samples. Absolutely. Instead of Bill Nye, definitely would still been hype. Breach. Isn't that kind of sad though? Right? Like, I've heard that so many people have said, not that I need to be the one like, teaching their children or whatnot, but that there was the opportunity for them to be in science and really like science, but they had that teacher that just nerfed their enjoyment for the sciences. And that seems to be a pretty commonplace thing. I know that's something, in 6th grade, I really hated science. And my dad was very upset because he's a scientist and he's like, how could you hate science? I'm like, Dad, this is the most boring topic ever. I do not care. And then eventually I was brought back to the dark side. But it happens a lot. And it's not Gucci at all. Have we found any feetsies? Not yet, MMD. We found a bunch of mosquito larvae. Strangely enough, NMD, we haven't found any nematodes today. Which I'm quite surprised by, because usually we're finding nematodes left, right, and center in these samples. there are some nematodes, NMD. And some weird stuff. NMD, there's weird stuff. NMD, please come here. Yes, Debs. Hi, Debs. What's the command for the science guy? That is a redemption, Gwen. That is a redemption. Science teacher was somewhat mean, to be fair. Not especially great environment for learning. Oh, that's not good at all, Burley guy. Favorite day is probably chemistry when I got to melt things and blow stuff up. And chasing the science dragon ever since. Oh, you're not wrong. Mine is the puzzle. That's what I chase. That's why I got into the sciences, to figure out how things worked. NMD. There is a lot of wiggling in here. Right here, NMD. Do you see that down below? Cliff, I think it's more than pasta. Chocolatey filling. Ooh, Debs. Miss Kathy. She is, she helps take care of my grandma now, but she used to help take care of us. She has this recipe from her mom for chocolate filling for her chocolate cake. Absolute gold. It is so, and it's not uber sweet. It's just a very, like, a good chocolatey flavor. Hi, Skip, aka Skip the Bell. Guys, if you're not checking out Lovely Skip, go check out the amazing Skip. Woodburner and gamer extraordinaire. How you doing, Skip? How's Callie doing? Hi, LeSabre! Can't stop thinking about telomeres. I know, LeSabre. I'm so sorry. We were talking about aging the other night, and how and cloning and correcting telomere length, and now I've upset LeSabre, which I apologize for. It's not uber. Excellent, Debs. Excellent. I was just. Of course, Debs, what are you talking about? Debs, try all the new things. Debs, come try Miss Kathy's chocolate as well. We are well. We're doing all right, Skip. The basement's still flooded, but you know, we'll fix it eventually. First day of class, he smashed a solid wood meter stick over the desk and shattered it. Burly guy, I had that in the 6th grade. My history teacher did that same thing. Had a very large measuring stick and just went. And it just shattered, and like I'm surprised no one's eyes went out actually, because when like pieces are going left, right, and center, it's like Actually, that was my favorite class in 6th grade, that history class, in spite of the fact that would happen. Let me see what our little creatures are in here.
Gucci.
That was a Smike's Gucci right there. Okay, cool. We have... Thank you, Lurk Skip. Any Frog. So Burnley, we try not to do a lot of dissections on the stream just because they can be very upsetting for a lot of people in terms of just like graphic stuff. The things that we have dissected are what I'm more experienced in the past, which are ants. So we've popped out, and fruit flies. So we've popped out their brains, and these are expired samples that we find in the wild. We don't ever hurt an animal on the stream. That is extremely important to me, and we will never do anything like that. But we dissected an expired ant and fruit fly head and actually looked at the brain and the internal anatomy. Have not done a frog number. Also, I'm just not specialized in it. I could fumble my way through it, but we look more at what our expertise are on. Strawberry jam to eat with the filling and transform into dessert. That sounds amazing, Debs. The wooden pallet with holes drilled in to lessen the wind resistance my teacher used to have. Love a good trauma. Is this a bristle? I think this is a bristle worm. This one doesn't have any direction. Their wiggling is so silly. They don't have any directionality to them, Cliff. So versus our mosquitoes had a very pronounced head structure, and a very differently pronounced tail structure. These are quite similar on either end. They're also not as segmented as what we saw before, especially this size. However, you can see their gut on the inside, and you can see it moving too. Like, you can see they've been ingesting things that are coming in. My bet is that this is probably the head cliff. They also tend to wrap their bodies around. Yeah, it is, because there is the eye spot cliff. So again, it's not a true eye. It's just a light sensing organ that we see here. Listen, Breach. You want to see this animation is based on my dance moves. Hold on, where is my button even? That's 100% based on my dance moves. In fact, Breach Kick, when my wife and I took dance lessons for our wedding, we were learning the waltz, and there was a moment where she's going in a circle, and the instructor was like, you can do your signature move right there. And Lita and I about just died laughing, because like the silly dance that I would do when we're at home, I would go like this. And so when the woman's like, your signature move, we're just both are like, I can't do that at our wedding, right? But it's one of her, like, it still will come up to this day of she's, I'll do a little dance in front of her. She's like, oh, signature move time. Like, signature move time. And that's what that animation is based off of. Same music all my aunts dance to. What about your uncle's Moment Killer? But yeah, it's cool that it's translucent and you can see all the internal organs. I'll adjust the lighting a little more. And yeah, they like to wrap their bodies around some of these. One cool thing that we saw at Breach Kick, we found about a year ago, was some planarians in the water. Planarians are flatworms that you can cut in half, and they regenerate, so the head grows a new tail, and the tail grows a new head with a brand new brain, but they retain old memories. So it's a really unique way of passing on that information, and no one knows really how it works, except that it happens. Weirdly, we started reproducing them, and we got a couple of them, and then they disappeared one day from our container, and we ordered planarians after that. We did a couple of experiments, and they also disappeared again. You can cut them 276, and they'll just grow 276. Well, it depends, diatoms, on their full length. Guys, if you like microscopy, also check out our friend, the amazing, the breathtaking Diatoms Attack. How you doing, Professor Attack? Welcome on in, friendo. Not into our body, but burly guy, I have no idea where they went to. 10 patients under my belt right now. Went down to 3 that they discharged some while I was on break. Nice, Crux. GG's, Crux. GG's. It's a disappear. Oh my God, Moment Killer. Hey, there was nothing plain about them. No! Hold on, air horn. Oi, yeah. Yeah. Listen, in my defense, I'm a father now. I can make these. Planarian roaming around your house. Listen, diatoms, given that our basement flooded on Monday, I would not put it past them to be swimming around down there. We got rid of most of the water, but you know what? There's still water down there. Now I can watch and relax until the call comes. Nice, Crux. Crux, thank you for being so kind. I hope again that you're having a great day today, and that it's going easy on you. Let's look at the next well, folks. Let's look at the next well, and then we're gonna move on to some amber. Was really hoping for a tardigrade today, but if we can't get that lucky, we won't get lucky, right? We'll figure it out. Best treatment for basement sanitation, bleach. I called the guy at Burnley. I called the guy, and hopefully they'll clean it up. Less of that easy. No, actually, diatoms. I identified some aspergillus down there because of the flood and because stuff got wet. So on Monday, we're gonna look at what my basement has growing in it now from the flood. It'll hit really close to home, diatoms. It'll be really upsetting, but it's fine. It's fine. It's totally fine. And if he's at an age where he's interested in science kits, so we're gonna get him volcano kits, bug examination kits. He's so excited about it. Can't really put words to it, what's happening, but he's always exactly tell us it's science. Ah, Breach, that's awesome. Breach, try not to let him lose that. Like we were talking about earlier, it's pretty easy to lose it if you don't get that right teacher. But if you can try to keep that sense of wonder in them, that would be amazing. Yeah, just another young ostracod in here. Let's take a look. Moisture meter. Yeah, Burley, we got... Someone came out and they did the moisture measurements, and they're going to come out. They have to rip up the carpet and dry underneath it because the padding under the carpet is totally nerfed. And they also inspected for mold and everything, and they confirmed what I had found, which is unfortunate. Because I was like, oh, I'm not exactly trained for mold identification. And they're like, yeah, no, that's what this is. I'm like, dang it. Yeah, we got some of our ostracods. There we go. It's a good look at our ostracods swimming around. What I think we'll do, y'all, I have a flooring business. I know quite a bit about it. Nice, Burley guy. Nice. So we need new stuff. Something behind a thing. This one here, Cliff. Yeah, unfortunately, I mean we got a wet vac and a carpet cleaner to start pulling up all the water as we could, but it was unfortunately we didn't do a good enough job. Cliff, these things always get me because they look very much like if it were a tardigrade. But see, it's like this worm-like creature and how it moves. Again, looks very tardigrade-y in terms of translucency. And it's like the right size, it just tricks me every time. Complete replacement versus pad pulling and drying. That's, hopefully insurance covers it. It's a Deloid rotifer. Thank you, Diatoms. And we've seen a couple of those then today. They've just kind of been tricky to capture. Diatoms, we missed you, by the way. I hope all is okay. Some more zipping on around. You have to persuade them at that point. Okay, gotcha, Burnley Guy. Thank you for the heads up. Welcome back, Goldenack! Burnley Guy, this is our first time ever having something like this, so it's all a fun learning experience, as it were. The guy who came out did image and take samples for culture for all the microbes. So we have a 3-month-old, so I would hope the insurance company would be able to understand. I don't want my child getting sick. Hi, Killa Koala. No poo yet, Killa. Although I suppose because it's pond water, there probably are poos in there. Guys, go check out Killa Koala. Not only are they a big fan of poo, they're also a really good artist. And, yeah, go check out Killa Koala. Day job most of the time. Gotcha. Pooticles? Maybe. Pond water this time. Been in the business for 40 years. Burnley Guy, I wish you lived close to us then. I called one group that is a national company to come out, and they said because we've already done some carpet drying, it's not worthwhile for them to come out. So I had to go to a different group to be like, will you all come out, please? And they're like, oh yeah, sure. There were so many homes in the area that just got flooded that I guess the big companies like, we don't really need to come out to your thing if we can't charge a maximal rate. Alright, so y'all, we're going to switch gears a little bit. We're going to look at some amber. While we're doing that, I'm going to soak some moss in hopes that we will rehydrate some tardigrades. Burly guy, that's weird, right?
It's alive! Alive! I've always wanted to say that.
You've always wanted to say that, Gwendolyn P. Oh, Gwen, I'm glad to have, to be able to make that come true for you, Gwen. Alright, so these samples will soak while we pull out some amber. Let's see what we can identify. Smikes, I can feel you laughing at me. Please, I'm free. Aw, Burnley, thank you. Yeah, it's most important thing is that they get rid of the molding, because again, like, I don't want the little one to grow up having asthma because she's, you know, in an environment that's covered and all that jazz. Hope it's not another midge. Gwen, you love midges. Possibly, maybe, potentially. Actually, probably not. I imagine, Gwen, you really are sick of the midges. Guys, let's pull out our amber. Let's start with this one. How about this one, Gwen? How about this one, Gwendolyn P? Actually, really, before we get started, I'm going to save our images so far. Gwen's favorite sample, folks, for those of you who don't know, is a hell ant that we have, and that one's 90 million years old. It's probably my favorite sample that we have as well. That and the cordyceps are like top tier for me in terms of coolness. I'm just quickly saving our images, Gwen, in case the program dies or something. See, material wasn't replaced because of issues. No, you're Burnley, you're fine. Please, my friend. We're looking at samples and talking science. Feel free. We can talk about other things during it too. I want you to be able to have fun. Why does Amber get their own time? What about Brittany or Courtney? Breach, listen. You're right. You're absolutely right. We're just limited in time, honestly. And Amber's always volunteering her time here, and it's just that's why we give them that you know, extra time. I'm sorry, Breach. You're right. You're right. Very right. She won't like the cute roach. That's fair, Gwen, because there's no such thing as a cute cockroach. Alrighty, folks. This is our sample. Let's take a handy-dandy measurement with our ruler that has been named by Cliff Alistair McLean as King Philip III. Get a rough measurement underneath so we can have a semblance of the size. There's an insect there. Probably about 2 millimeters in length. Is this little one here. We stretch them across. This, I don't know what this is here. We'll have to take a closer look. That may or may not be some flavor of insect. But just to give you all a size feel, we're talking the millimeter range right now for these animals. And again, these samples are 30 million years old. They are Dominican amber. So we can try to identify as best we can what these animals are, but it's all based on appearance. There's no way to fully confirm what these are. So ideally, Burly Guy, we'd be the ideal situation would be to do genetic sequencing, right? Because that's the only way that you could really confirm what these are and how they actually interact, right? But these are you can't extract any DNA or RNA from these samples. By this point, all the DNA and RNA have degraded. So actually, I'm so sorry, Burley Guy, and anyone else in the chat is new. Jurassic Park is a lie. Found a few 90 million year old coffee beans in amber. Would you roast them? So Moment Killer, unfortunately, you couldn't get them out of amber easily enough. You would destroy them in the process of taking them out of the amber, and they probably would fall apart soon after that. Yeah. Off topic warning, no worries. Still wonder why the Hellions didn't make it. Do we know? Golganak, there is the only way that we'll really know is if we find some samples between 90 million years old and where they actually died out. The hypothesis is that they were so specialized that their prey died out and they couldn't despecialize fast enough. So specialization was indeed how Zin said, in the form of their mandibles or their jaws. And because they were so specialized, if their prey died out, they wouldn't be able to catch anything. And that's maybe why. But the best evidence for that Golganak would have been if we found additional samples of both their prey and them, and see if there was like a similar time when they died out. Hi, Christmas Bricker. What about chromosome 2? Can we make a talking ant? So I don't know if it would be on chromosome 2, Chris McBricker. May very well be on chromosome 3. But in all seriousness, you can make pseudo chromosomes where you're introducing a chromosome that's not exist. You can build a chromosome. We've done it in bacteria. In an organism, I think the fruit fly we've done it in, if I'm remembering right, but most higher order, like even more complex animals, I don't have any memory of that. I'd say it couldn't be done, but no one's done it that I'm aware of. Alright, this is Gwen's favorite, I believe. Go ahead and snap a picture of this. Gwen loves these critters. Gwen, do you want to take any flavor of guess as to what this may be? I'm so sorry, Gwen. I'm so sorry. Chat, you can even see the halteres here. So these are sticking out from the side of the, like right around the thorax, abdominal region that they're sticking out. It's giving balance to them. Kibik Arki, thank you for the follow. Welcome on into the colony. Someone else's cane, not quite Moment Killer. So Burnley, unfortunately, not a mosquito either. The size is a little bit on the smaller side, so it's too tiny for it. It's about between 1 and 2 millimeters in length. It doesn't have the proboscis or the mouth part that would make it a mosquito, so that long component of it is not DNA. What do you mean, Chris McBricker? I don't know what that means. Guys, also, please go follow our friend Irish John Games. Go follow Jern. Breathtaking, amazing soul. Game dev extraordinaire. Please go follow Jern, folks. Go follow Jern. So Burnley Guy, if there was a long mandible here, and it's in 3 pieces, there's a really long one and 2 other smaller ones that come out. That's like the mouth anatomy of a mosquito. This, because of its size and the body structures that we're seeing, like the halteres and the wings, this is most likely Gwen's favorite, a midge. Which, yes, Moment Killer. A midge or a wasp are usually for our beverage items. Took long, but really the entire creature seems a bit attenuated, so it shouldn't be surprised. For the antennae, yeah, the antennae are really long. See, all the way going here. Italian class. Buona fortuna. Buona fortuna, Debs. The antennae you can see going right along down here, all the way to the legs. Usually that's a feature of these midges / the gnats. This is the haltier right up here, Gwen, right up here. Difference between, there is, Christmas Bear, I have no idea the context of it. Human DNA and ape DNA are 99% identical. So I do not know, I do not actually watch the History Channel. Yeah. Definitely a true fly, yes. Definitely, I think a true fly is in, because that is a haltier. We'll flip it over and look at the other side of it to make sure that it is in fact that structure, but I'm pretty confident in what we're looking at. I'll try to adjust the color a little bit better. Alright, well that'll have to be the best color. Sorry y'all, there's a swirl acting out right here, so if we're trying to change around the color, it just isn't looking that great. Although, if we shine the light like that, do y'all see right up here? That's actually a really nice look. All those little, what look like pixels, those little circles are actually the ommatidia, or the cells of the compound eye that are quite visible on that. So it's all on, like, the lighting is what allowed us to be able to see that. And I think that's really, really cool. So when the insects get encapsulated in the amber, what degraded the tissue? So the DNA just isn't stable. Like, just after a while it starts breaking down, especially with the loss of moisture on that front. So everything is just totally dried out and becoming really, really brittle, especially as the resin hardens. The resin hardens and sucking the water out, so sometimes you see collapsed body parts as well. If we were to be able to trim down the amber and get into this animal, if you started touching the tissue, it would fall apart immediately. The DNA also tends to be more stable at colder temperatures. So if you kept this insect on ice at like negative 150 degrees Celsius, between negative 150 and negative 80, the DNA would be stable for millions of years. I don't know if it'd be stable long enough that we're talking about dinosaur era, but it's a possibility, right? Yeah, 238 degrees Fahrenheit. That's what we keep them in the lab. RNA is also stable at those extremely cold temperatures, but RNA in the lab, if you look at the wrong way, it breaks down. Like, honestly, because there's these enzymes, Burley Guy, in the air, on your skin, everywhere, called RNases. The ace at the end of the word means that it eats up or it destroys whatever the first word is. So RNases eat RNA. Proteinases eat protein. DNases eat DNA. And those collectively, of how they interact, will yield breakdown products. So it breaks down elements of genetic information. That's why we have nothing to use for cloning on samples. I think the oldest that we've extracted from is 1 million. And that's, again, like, we're talking mammoths and those flavor of animals that we're able to extract from. So again, not especially good at preserving things is resin on the genetic level. And Buttspot, great job, Buttspot, great job. As lactase, yes, exactly, Golganak gets it. Lactase breaks down lactose. Same principle. The words are quite nice once you know the nomenclature. It doesn't always Golganak work, unfortunately. There's, of course, like, other scientific terms that'll randomly pop in and out, but you know, we do what we can, right, Golganak? Let's look at the other side is actually much cleaner of this animal. Article on frozen tissues, soft tissue. So Burley Guy, there was an article on a similar sample that suggested they found chromatin from said samples, and that is if true, really, really exciting. The reason I say if true is because I haven't seen a second paper on it. But it suggested that there was preserved DNA structure and sample. Now, whether or not there was, again, I think it just needs a couple of, like, more replicates done. There we go. Look at that. Cool, cool, cool. Let's zoom in a little more. We're going to zoom out to get the whole body. There we go. So you can see that's a much better angle. So this is, again, the optical illusion that these samples play on us. And that's all because there's these imperfections in the amber that distort the light. So here, you can see what most likely is the true leg length versus when we're looking at this angle. It looked like the antennae were the length of the legs. And it's because there's this swirl here. And that distorts the image. And this, I think, is much more of the true image that we're seeing here. We also, folks, for those coming in who are new, every time when we're identifying these samples, we also catalog them and we write them down as to what they are and store them away. My wife and I, we do school visits and we teach kids about science, and we always donate a piece of these amber samples to the classrooms. And so it's cool because we can tell the kids that, hey, we did the classification of these on Twitch, and they sometimes will come and join us on Twitch and also learn about science, which is neat. They found fossils of dragonflies with 6-foot wingspans. I have not heard that, Burnley Guy. I know there's fossil imprints of dragonflies, but I haven't heard of anything that large. I've heard they have talked about giant insects, but anything that resembling modern-day dragonflies in terms of anatomy has not been found to be that size. They can get up to a certain size with increased levels of oxygen, but they are size limited based on how they breathe. They again breathe through their exoskeleton. These little tubes go into their body called sphericals, and based off that, there's only a certain size they can get, even with increased concentrations of oxygen, because it's all acting through diffusion. And so anything with those 6-foot wingspans, there was not enough oxygen in the air at that time, and their bodies just don't work appropriately for that to be able to happen. Although it would have been a cool thing, but unfortunately, I do not believe that that is accurate. There we go. This is still the same insect we identified a moment ago, y'all. We're just taking an image from the other side. And here, so there, Gwen, this is a great look, I think, for the halteres. Take an image and save it. Remember, folks, all will be on the Discord if you want to keep these pictures. That right there is another one of those halteres, right, Gwen? I would suggest that that's a pretty clear-cut one right there. That we have the halteres here. No, so Risto, we looked through all those water samples and we found mosquito larvae, some rotifers, maybe some nematode. Like it was hard to pull out, and then ostracods. But then that was it. So Rista, what I've done now is I've gotten rid of that water. I've put in some moss that I've dried out for a few weeks and just let it sit in the water for a little while. And Rista, we're gonna see if maybe there's some stuck in there. Yeah. Yes, tree sap, or sorry, amber is tree sap, indeed, Burley Guy. Yep, it's just hardened tree sap. Is there a clasper on the abdomen? Maybe. Well, look, 1 second, Cliff. I just wanted to show it too for y'all who are new here. These little dots again are the eyes, right there. So those are the ommatidia, or the eye cells, right there. Why do you have to dry the moss and then wet it again? So NMD, when you dry, if there's tardigrades in there, they shrink and go into what is called like a dower stage. So it's just, it's a dower stage for nematodes, the ton stage for tardigrades. Live microscopy, looking under the microscope at tiny worlds. That was, listen, Golganak, that was a amazing week in many different ways, Golganak. like baby and partner and just all the things. I still, Golganak, it is an extremely surreal week to this day. Those of you coming on in, we're analyzing pieces of amber that are 30 million years old, and there's insects in them. And we're trying to identify what they are. This particular sample that we have on right now, we identify it as a midge. And I just changed the color around, and it's a really cool image. Because what you can tell is all of a sudden, it's starting to have iridescence. And this, while the color might not be accurate, it is representative of most likely what it looks like, not in amber, but in real life. And iridescence color is, I think, quite amazing to see on these kinds of animals. So I think it's super cool. And it also really highlights the eyes, which again, each one of these little circles on the head is an eye cell. There's still 2 eyes, but the eyes are called compound eyes. They're all built from all these lots of different cells, kind of clustered together. Those feed in together to the optic lobe of the brain, and that's what gives the insect the ability to see. And it's pretty remarkable, I think, to have that kind of vision. So there's one other insect in this sample that we're going to check on out in just a moment or two. I'm going to have to analyze the extra bits to it. But here we go. Let's find this other insect in here. And mods, thank you. Thank you, mods. Again, working behind the scenes to keep people safe. Okay. How you doing, sir? Oh. Gwen, I think we don't have your second favorite person or insect in here. I have to adjust the lighting a little bit so you see we're getting some kind of like extra light popping on in. This to me looks like another fly. This doesn't look like a midge, but rather like some flavor of housefly almost, or yeah, I think we'll have to get it at another angle. Unfortunately, the lighting is not on point. This extra lighting up top is going to be really obscuring us. So that when I'm changing the lighting, it's called the exposure. Similar concept, like it's not anything particular to microscopes, it's just like the camera optics terminology, and I know most people know that. I'm just explaining because sometimes scope terms can be very different even if it's using a similar property. When we're moving on the exposure rate, because there's an imperfection here in the amber, that's kind of making this pop with extra light. And so that's what we're going to need to take an extra peek at and try to fix, and maybe we'll be able to get it on the other side. But if we zoom in, we do see our abdomen here. We see our thorax where the wings are coming off. It looks like 2 wings, but there is a weird doubleting happening here that it's hard to tell if it's an effect of the image or if it's something actually in particular, like specific to the organism. So we're going to flip it over and check out and see what's on the other side. Zoom back out. So it looks like the best way to get a good image of this is I have to hold it. And we may have to angle it. There we go. So this right here, it looks like a dark mass, is actually almost a break through the amber. And that's what's causing all the light obstruction in this image here. So that right there, that's like all nice and lit up, is this from the underside, right here. And that's what's making it difficult to make out and see what exactly is in this sample. It's really close to the head, unfortunately, but we can see a little bit more of the body structure. We do see the wings readily here and here. There's the abdomen, we have the legs, and then you have, again, the head, and it looks like there's maybe the mouth part right there. I'm still leaning towards some kind of fly on this. Given the size of it, it's probably, again, like a fruit fly or some kind of house fly equivalent. Nothing too wild, but let's try again. Maybe we can mess with the colors some and get a better image. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to go on the other side. There we go. If we can recapture that. What kind of cat tree NMD did you build? I'm gonna get one with the yellows. And one like this. There we go. Lots of bubbles. See, it's fuzzy. It has a hammock and scratching post. NMD, I will please keep an eye on your cat and let me know if it ever uses the hammock. Noodle's cat tree has a hammock, and I'm fairly certain that she's never used it. Yeah, Golganak, NMD's getting a new kitty cat. Or a putty cat, depending on how you want to say. Also just has the flat part. The flat part was Noodle. The top flat part is Noodle's favorite. She ignores the hammock and then sometimes gets in a little cave of it. Your cats love the hammock. I wonder what it is then, Daybreak. I know it's just some personality, but it's just it's interesting. It's interesting. It's interesting, Daybreak. So here's a better angle of this, and I'm much more convinced that this is a fly. And you can look at how good we can actually see the eye cells here. So all those little dots are not pixelations. Those are, again, the compound eyes. And I think looking pretty on point here. It's a great image, I think. But to get a replacement because they fight over who gets to use it. Fair enough. Daybreak! Stay hydrated, Daybreak. Stay hydrated.
Together, we can rule the galaxy.
Winsing, thank you for the resub. 3 months already. I can't believe. I'm so happy to be marching with this fantastic colony. Thank you so much. Thank you, Winsing. Winsing, welcome the heck in. Thank you, my friend, for the resub. Thank you, Winsing. How the heck are you doing today? Welcome on in. Winsing, we're doing a makeup microscopy stream. Not makeup as in like, but just like making up for Monday. And we're looking at a sample of amber underneath the microscope, 30 million years old. And you can see we've identified this now as a fly. So it has two wings here and here. It has actually a typical fly wing vein pattern. You can see the eyes, and we were just looking at when you came in the eye cells. Each one of those little dots are an ommatidium. Those all have individual optic nerve neurons coming into the optic lobe where they come together to make an image so the insect can see. You can see right here is the antenna of this fly. It's a short little guy, but it's the common fruit fly antenna. Yep, right here. Right, Cliff? Cliff, am I right? I better be right. Cliff Alistair McLean, I better be right. Cliff, otherwise I'm gonna have to cry. Setae. S-T-S-E-T-A-E. Is the plural, and then Seta is the singular. But those are the antenna. Yeah, and they're very disappointing. When I found out that those were the antennae, Cliff, I was like, that doesn't look like an antenna, because they're not like the long strandy ones. But it's a similar principle still governing it. Instead of the long strands, they have these hairs that are coming off, and that's serving the equivalent of those long stranded antennae. No antennae in there. Oh, the specific form having a name. I do not remember the specific form of this. As Cliff mentioned, there's a whole lot of different names for these antennae based on the shape and the length, and I have to look back at our reference. I wonder if I have a readily available. Hold, please, for a second, Cliff Astor McLean. I do not have them easy accessed, I don't think, Cliff. Oh, no, I got it, Cliff. Look at that. Cliff, is this the same thing that you were finding? Aristae! It is. It is. The Aristae right here, first one. Thank you, Smikes. Thank you, Smikes. Yep, so that is our style. Actually, this is a pinned message in our microscopy channel in the Discord, which is really nice to be able to have, that we can look back at this tool and analyze and see what we see in there. Yeah, I think so anyway. Okay. Let us continue, folks. Let us continue. Okay. Similar wing styles as well to what we've seen in the past 5. There's a lot of bubbles in here, but I think pretty straightforward based on this image that we have a fly. So a fly and a midge in this sample have been collected. Now then, in the remaining time we have left, we're going to go over and check on our pond water again and see if we found any tardigrades. Maybe we found someone in there. Maybe not. You never know. And then soon enough, Lita and Little One will be home, so. Antenna defines the word sage, but if it works out. What is the word sage, Golganak? Is that, Golganak, I've been told that means sad. Is that true? The sage means sad? It does mean, why does it mean sad, Golganak? Can you tell me the etymology of that? So I get confused. Is it is it an emote that is sage originally? I always think of the sage like the wizard or like the fortune teller, you know? That's like a sage, and I just get confused, Golganak. Someone told me once that they felt sage. And I was like, I am so sorry. I have no idea what you're talking about. And then I felt like a silly willy. I felt like a silly willy. Think of the spice? Why, Nurnet? What does the spice have to do with it? Oh, it's spelled differently. Gotcha. Gotcha, Golganak. Right over the head on that one. All right. I'm gonna remove our mosses and let's see if we found any tardigrades. If we didn't, that's okay. As Mike said, they can't be a blockbuster every time. Let's sage was an herb. Me too. I Tolkien Tao. I did not think it was sadness. But this is why y'all are here. Y'all teach me. All right. Let's take a look and see who all is in here. Hopefully we find someone. Internet says it's a flat Pepe. Is that the, Cliff, where it's like the frog and its head is flat? So that one may be the origin. Gotcha, Golganak. That's the frog, right? Not the skunk. We're talking about Pepe Le Pew. Pepe Le Pew. By the way, what are y'all doing tonight? Anyone have any fun plans on your Saturday night? So this is basically the field of view that we have. And this is like your typical view of if we were going tardigrade hunting. In this is the other style method that we've done. There is the ability to use it from just the existing water sample and soak it, or you can dehydrate mosses and put them on in here and see if the rehydration will bring you some tardigrades or not. Both have worked for us in the past. They don't work every time. Hopefully it will work better next time. I'm not giving up, but just, as a possibility.
It is forsaken and forgiven, NMD. You can be, instead of our destroyer, our hero, NMD. Please help us as we conquer the universe.
I know, NMD requires her army spikes. I'm going to readjust the lighting a little bit. There we go. Alright, let's move on to the next well. Again, we might have struck out today, folks. I apologize if we have. The joys of working with live animals. We will, though, tomorrow, or Monday. Guaranteed. Guaranteed to find... Hi, Andrew! Guaranteed to find some aspergillus on Monday. Guys, if you're not checking out Andrew CZ, legendary, breathtaking, handsome as fair at workout, built like a Roman god, technical wizard, and the best defender. Go check out Andrew CZ. Please and thank you, chat. Please and thank you. Love you, Andrew. Love you, Andrew. How you doing, Andrew? How you doing, Andrew? Andrew, did you have a lovely day today? I hope so. Hunting for the tardigrades, Andrew, and the first pass when we were looking at the pond water, we definitely struck out. What on earth is this? That's always a good thing to say, right? What is this? This makes I don't have no idea what this is. There's something wiggling right here. You don't want to... No. Exactly. The doctor will be like, what is this? No idea. See, it's got some flavor of movement, and you can see internal organs wiggling as well. Red lettuce, those spikes. Must eat Dukasoft. Every time that you say baby to bit gamey, I chuckle. I'm just throwing that out there, Dukasoft. I don't know if you know that you saying that brings joy to people, but it brings me joy every time you say it. Just so you're aware, Dukasoft. Okay. Let's take a little... There we go. Thank you, Big Gamey, for the tango. Big Gamey, it's always fun to dance with you. Alright, chat, I'm just going through the wells. Alright, well, we have nematodes. We're gonna look at some nematodes, if nothing else. Scare of a lifetime, what'd you do, Super? There we go. You may always flip tables, Gwen. Gwen, we found a fly. And the midge, Gwen. There is our nematode right there. Screams at box of litter. What kind of litter did you get, NMD? Is it shouting back at you? We have to have a discussion if it's shouting back at you. To adjust the lighting a little bit. That's much worse. Hold on. There we go. What's really cool about these, you can see their internal organs, and they're hermaphroditic. So they self-fertilize. Which I think is really cool. Super, what was the scary thing, Super?
Victory screech!
Poor Ellie. Hacked your account? What kind of account, Super? Was it Twitch? Oh no, Super, I'm glad everything is okay. Make sure to change that password. And yeah, use the 2-factor authentication. Hi, Icy. Trying to get, there we go. Trying to get the lighting a little bit better. So we can look at our nematode. They shouldn't have bypassed it, Super. It should be connected to your phone. Eddington Jones, thank you for the follow. Welcome on, and you have a lovely name. Sound very fancy. Are you very fancy, Eddington Jones?
I'll be back.
Yeah, thank you for the game. There we go. I just like to save these images again, but there you can see our nematode. And again, this is studied in a lab. Better part of 100 years now. For developmental biology. That's the reason. Occasionally, Eddington Jones. I'm so sorry. I don't know if you're English or not, but it just sounds like such a lovely name that I have to pretend to you that you are like you are holding a cup of tea in one hand and a cigar in the other, and like have a beautiful top hat. Whether it be bedazzled or not, that's your call. But I love the name. Welcome the heck in. Icy Poke. Nematodes do eat a fair bit. They'll eat decaying matter, which is why they're important in the ecosystem. They also eat bacteria. So they in the lab you feed them E. coli. Just like on a dish, they eat no problem. They're not as ravenous as what SpongeBob makes them out to be. So they will not be eating the pineapples in SpongeBob's Pineapple House. They're really cool. This white stuff inside of them is mostly their reproductive organs. Hi, Tiffany. Oh, hi, Tiffany. Oh, hi. How you doing, Tiffany? Which is, I think, really cool to be able to see. And again, what's cool about their reproductive organs is that they're hermaphroditic, meaning they have both male and female sex organs, allowing them to self-fertilize. They do produce males in times of need. And then here's another one actually swimming around above us. And that time of need is if there's a requirement for genetic diversity. There are enough straws in the ocean for them to sip up some. That is very true, Icy Poke, unfortunately. There's a lot of pollution in the ocean. A lot of straws are thrown away. That's very true. And I don't like to have SpongeBob's house destroyed. I love SpongeBob, and it makes me sad when his house gets nerfed. You know? There's nothing Gucci about that at all. But you can see, you can actually make out the pointed end. The more pointed end is the tail, the less pointed end is the head. And then we've got one swimming up around. To the point where the other one's getting a little bit annoyed by it as well. There we go. Yep, so you just swim. It looks like a very uncoordinated swim that they just flick their tails around like that. But pretty neat. I can, Smikes. I am Smikes. We are getting a little bit of a video of this behavior now. Thank you, Smikes! We'll also post the video on the Discord as well. Getting a little bit. I know, they're really wigging out. No, the other one's not dead. They tend not to... I think they're accidentally getting tangled, Smikes. The other one is not dead, though. Pretty sure it's not dead. They're playing. Yeah, it's the little brother and the big brother, right? Come on, let's play. I don't want to play with you right now. I don't want to play with you. And it's presumably not a mating behavior, so you can actually sex them pretty easily. The males are super tiny relative to the females. These two are far too similar in size. For you to have that kind of difference. Alright, we're going to turn off the auto exposure, and I'm just going to manually change it. There we go. And yeah, that right there is the tail, and there was the head. Like, cool, you could even see the gut tissue in there. See, the other one's still alive, Smikes. Not as excited as the dancing one, but still alive. One is a senior citizen. Could be, probably. Thank you, Smikes. Pretty sure it's not dead. Possibly, maybe, potentially. Pretty sure. Alright, let's cycle through the last batch of wells. And maybe that's where we'll wrap it up for the evening. See if we find any tardigrades. Code and Loki. Thank you for the follow. Welcome on into the colony. Welcome in, Code. How are you doing today? I see some kind of wiggling in here. Sick channel, thank you, Code. I think Code. Code, are you using sick in the sense of like kind of interesting, or are you using it like bleh? Either way, Code, we're glad to have you here. Glad to have you here, Code. Just hunting through some pond water now, trying to identify any potential little microorganisms. Again, looking for tardigrades, but we've struck out tonight, I think. I did see something wiggling in here, which is why I'm zooming in a little bit more. think though, no luck on that. I don't think so, Alex, unfortunately. Alex, it's unfortunate because it feels like there should be. Just based on the random color of things. Because some of these are like the right opacity for it to be a tardigrade, but I'm just not finding it. We may win some points. I mean, Gwen, it is one of those days where it's like, huh. There's a creature. But that is not a tardigrade right there. You can see it's fluttering and there's like cycling water. Music Girl, hi.
Hello there. Hello there.
Music Girl, did you make it home safe? Did you make it home safe, Music Girl? I hope you're home safe. Cirque, this is a small glass dish. And the glass dish is what's holding the pond water. We're on the bus. Nice. Give Jimmy, please pinch his elbow for me, Music Girl. Because you said you couldn't do it this morning. But given you're on your way home now, it should be okay, right? That makes more sense. They are a Golganak. It's frustrating. Oh, the Golganak we talked about at the beginning of stream today. I'm going to rearrange this little table that everything's on. And thank you, Music Girl. Appreciate you, Music Girl. Like a petri dish? A little bit. Smaller wells in there. So it's a 9x9. The dish is like this big. And it's a 9... there's 9... or it's 3x3. So there's 9 total wells in there. So you can load it up with some water samples. So Golganak, what I'm going to do is move over this microscope to be a little bit more on like the right-hand side. And on the left, I'm going to put the other microscope. So then if we have a sample that we want to look at under the higher mag, it'll be much easier to move over. Start singing Wheels on the Bus at Jimmy. Oh my god, yes. Sacred, first time chatter. How are you doing today? Welcome on in. Hope you're doing well today, Sacred. Nice to see you. Nice to meet you. Welcome on in. Yeah, I think some flavor of Ostracod here. Maybe some a developmental stage earlier. The kids might unalive me. Kids might unalive me. And Ruben, hi, Goethe. Goethe, how are you doing? Music Girl, I love that you said the kids might unalive me. That is such a beautiful turn of phrase. Well done, Music Girl. Always knows how to make me chuckle. Alright, I'm gonna get one more look, and I think we have to call it for tonight, y'all. There's all of our nematodes. They're still dancing. Doing all right, Gotha. We had our basement flooded this week, so that's what we're dealing with this week, unfortunately. But beyond that, we're doing okay. There's some of our dancing nematode friends again. Why not see it? The song that never ends. No, Cirque, that's even worse. The song that never ends is far, far worse. Oh no, it's totally it's lovely. Exactly. Ellie Elegans, I tell you, Smikes. They're just being all kinds of naughty on in there. Gotha, the sump pump in the basement died. That's responsible for removing the water and shifting the water out from this like hole down there outside, and it rained for 3 days straight. It got overworked and it just gave out, And so then when we got up Monday morning to go downstairs, because that's, you know, to feed one of the cats who's down there, yeah, there was just everywhere water. And so Lita and I, we were sucking the water out from the carpet with a wet vac and a carpet cleaner, and it was just, it's we need to have a fair bit of it replaced, unfortunately, Cirque. It's a whole series of very unfortunate events. Baby shark, Alex, is far more addictive than it should be. Baby shark, baby shark, which days you talk more about ants? I have a question which I could probably Google. Your answers are better. Bex, I'm going to jump over to the other chair. While I'm doing that, go ahead and ask your question. We can wind down the stream with that. Is Dream Theater? I mean, Icy Poke. You're not wrong. That is also a very long song. All right, John, you're beautiful. Okay, there we go. Hi, Athena Cat. Welcome in. Been a long day again. Or Athena Cat. You always have a long day, man. Always working. With Baby Alona's pillow back on her chair. I don't want Baby Alona to be upset, you know, like she'd be like, Dad, Oppa, which is the Hungarian for dad. What the heck? Who moved my pillow? To fold up all her items and everything to make sure they're lovely. Gotta keep the trains moving. Sorry, Athena Cat. NMD, am I allowed to be here tonight? What does it mean when ants are in mega piles on sidewalks, along grass lines, or between sidewalk cracks? Is that the entire ant colony has come up for air or something? Hope that makes sense. Yes. So Bex, what Bex is referring to is when you're walking around, and it's usually after a rainstorm, right? So Bex, what that usually happens with is there has been a giant rain that happened and it flooded the inside of the colony, and so they've come up to kind of avoid there being drowning for those creatures. That's one of the big reasons why they come up. So it's usually from a flood. They're usually the pavement or sidewalk ants. They can also be harvester ants that are coming up, and those collectively are the ones that are usually there working on a way. Yeah, it's they're strange creatures, the fact that they always pop out like that, but that is usually the reason for it. That makes sense, Bex? Again, it's usually a humidity. It coincides with humidity. Like you won't see it beyond it. Yeah, I guess the other side of the two, Bex, is there is the possibility sometimes it's not from rain. Sometimes it could also be from too dryness. So they could come up and try to be looking for water. And that's one possibility of it as well. Alex, thank you for all the eating. Yes, go do it, Athena.
Wonder Woman!
Survival of the Queen getting her to higher ground. Sometimes, Burnley. Fire ants, for example. Fire ants are really cool because they have... Thank you, Alex. They have, they actually bind together, and they can even float. So they're designed to float on, like, pretty, like, otherwise, it's the best way of saying it, like, destitute conditions, where they should be long gone, they can actually float on top of it, which I think is really neat. And so, like, they form a whole ball, and they'll surround the queen and protect them. Let's see, Bex said, makes a lot of sense. We had a ton of snow for a hot minute, probably melted, also near fluctuating water tables. Yes, so that'll be a big part of it, especially like on sidewalks too, because of how the building structure goes, and you have piping underneath there. Burly guy, yep. Fire ants are no joke. Fire ants are absolutely no joke, burly guy. They're very bad for the environment. They're invasive. Yeah, the living versions of polystyrene. But yes, Alex is totally right on that. Nice analogy, Alex. I like that. Okay. Pictures, sets of 6 tiny limb floaties. I mean, Golganak almost, right? Because Golganak, they have water bubbles around them. Right? They use that surface tension to form water bubbles, which allow them to breathe that air and, like, survive underwater. Yeah. Are back here too. Us too, Athena Cat, yeah. Saw a fire ant colony by my grandfather's farm that was 4 feet tall. Yep, burly guy. Was that also, I'm guessing that was in Florida? Florida, Texas both have really, like, massive fire ant mounds that you can find. Hates fire ant bites? Cirque, me too. I really don't like it either. Louisiana, along the same trajectory. I've seen it in those 2 locations, in Texas and in Florida, those really giant mounds. So that's just coming from my experience, but that makes sense about the right time area. Okay, so what all did we see today, chat? We found some mosquito larvae. I mean, look, Burley. I do the same thing. To this day, I would do the same thing. I think it's interesting. Boop, 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 and then run away. Actually, Burley guy, if you wanted to, let's say, collect that colony, what you would do, get a giant bucket full of water, get a shovel, dig up the dirt of the colony, and dump it into the water bucket. And then leave overnight. Like 8 hours. When you come back, the colony will be floating on top. The dirt will be at the bottom, colony on top. You pick up the colony, and then you got a colony. It's amazing. Lobster Chung, hi. Lobster loves the fire ants. Raised my first 2 queens last summer in test tubes. One queen made some worker ants, the other didn't. Was it mated, Lobster Chung? Might not have been. House being built next door, which I think is why the fire ants are coming back in droves, disturbing the ground. Might it be, Athena Cat? Yeah. Cousin dropped a firework down at a fire ant nest. Ooh. Did it help, Alex? Over at Lake Charles, and we got some big mounds. Nice, Icy Poke. Where is Lake Charles? It's the colony. Just add water. And then... okay, so we did find the mosquito larva today. Different stages as well, which is kind of neat. We found the interesting Ostracod with the M put in there. Burn Queen! Thank you for the follow, Burn Queen. Welcome in. Southwest Louisiana. Gotcha, Icy Poke. Thank you for that. I just didn't know. We also, let's see, more Ostracods. There is our worm that we have as well. And then we looked at Ancient Amber today, too. That annoyed them a spectacular amount. Alright, I like that, Alex. They were both caught after a rain. They fly around to make their own nests. Both dropped their wings shortly after caught them. Not sure if they were mated. Yep, gotcha, Lobster Chunk. If she was not mated and she was, like, brought down after that rainstorm, even if she would put her into a vial, she might have just toned off her wings as, like, she's just going through the motions, independent of mating. Thank you, Burn Queen. We have fun here. We also looked at these 30-million-year-old amber samples with insects. We did find a midge in here, which we were able to successfully identify based on the halteres and antennal structures. And there she is. Got to see her eye cells quite nicely. And then we found this less than ideal sample, but it is a really interesting looking fly. How are the ants doing these? Shrinking? Yes, Gwen. They're unfortunately in a box behind me because the sample is downstairs, Gwen. Where we would have them are less than optimal, Gwen. They're unable to be down there. No, unfortunately, Athena Cat. I don't think we got lucky enough with that today. But Athena, on Monday, for Microscopy Monday, we'll be looking at the fungal samples growing in my basement as a result of the basement flooding. Right? As someone said earlier, you making lemonade out of lemons or something like that, whatever the phrase is. We were doing that. Here's another fly in there. Any news on New Queen? Not yet, Gwen. Not yet. Hoping soon, but it's dependent on that one person who has the permits for it. It sounds hilarious, but so not all. Yeah. Bex, I just want to make y'all smile. Is grape juice out of lemons? Maybe spikes? I don't know. Our basis on now look for interesting photo samples. Look, Alex, I gotta do something, Alex. I gotta. Otherwise, Alex, I would just be very sad. Which is, I mean, I guess that's I don't want to be that sad, Alex. You know. Live through 4 basement floods. It's awful. I am not pleased by it. I am absolutely not pleased by it, Bex. But yeah, thank you for the hug, Golganak. All right, folks. So those are the samples that we